168 days since our son, I'm the mother, was forcibly taken from his barracks room to the arms room, which is a secure location, um, you know, limited access to the arms room down in the basement, and his life was taken from him, and he was then um, desecrated and taken over to um, Juarez, Mexico, in the state of Chihuahua. Chihuahua borders the United States, and he was disposed of there. And so we have been investigating for years, almost 6 years now, the targeting, the murder, the cover up, the trafficking of our son, and who has been involved in that, and why there was such a huge cover up and tampering of elections and all of that, the Walmart mass shooting, and everything that is connected to our son's case, including this whole Charlie Kirk's death. You wouldn't believe it, but the attempts on President Trump's life, why they were connected to our son's case. It just all seemed to be connecting, and now we know why, right? We know why. Um, because of this, I would call them Mormon faction, but now we know, and it's well established. I wonder why it took us so long to confirm that they are a Mormon Mafia in alliance with the transnational terroristic organizations, uh, you know, which include the Sinaloa Cartel and the CJNG Cartel and the El Paso. The El Paso Cartel hasn't been designated yet as a transnational terroristic organization, but they are in alliance that has been confirmed with the Sinaloa and the CJNG. So, they are absolutely aiding and abetting uh, and then becoming a terroristic organization. And so this is the Mormon Mafia, the terroristic organizations, um, and also um, the huachicol, which is the fuel theft, huge billions of dollars that was industrialized, I think is the best word for it. They perfected the fuel theft out of the Pemex. Um, I don't know what Mexico has to do to stop this fuel theft that's been going on for decades in Mexico and really has impoverished the Mexican people because of the fuel theft being stolen and brought to the United States, and the fuel additives that create the whole fentanyl crisis. And, everything is being exposed and coming together. And we really thank the Trump administration for that because in some of the comments on this, people ask, "How do you know? How do you know all this stuff? Where do you get all this information? It's out there. Um, it is all within the actions of the FinCEN, the finance of the administration, the Trump's administration, right from the beginning in January of 2025, what he was doing in his first administration, and really." The cases like the Jensen family case and um, the other Pemex cases that include Western Refining, which is Paul Foster's business that was renamed and then bought out and renamed, um, is uh, is called Marathon. You know, everyone knows Marathon in the oil business, and Marathon is the largest contributor to El Paso Matters. And because we're a transparent government, you know, when you're being attacked by El Paso Matters, when El Paso Matters is telling lies about your son, then you're like, well, who's behind that, right? Who's behind El Paso Matters? Well, that's Marathon, right? Who owns Marathon? Who controls Marathon? Well, that's the El Paso Cartel, which you know, the biggest operative is Alejandro de la Vega Foster, the dual citizen, the double agent, serving on both the Chihuahuan governor's administration while serving on the Texas governor's administration. Um, you know, uh, with very bad intentions on both sides, you know, and then in alliance and supporting Maru Campos, who, you know, I just posted up, you know, a um, a crime board of, I mean, all of her treason. She's absolutely treasonous. And so it's not, you know, the question is not how we found out. It is why don't more people know? Because the information is out there. It's not like I have some kind of magic ball or something like that, you know, globe or something like this, you know, soothsayer or something like that. It is just investigative work, investigative work, and looking up Mormon Mafia finally, looking that up because, you know, it just kept being the common denominator. Why are all of these Mormon Mafia people involved in our son's case? Why, you know, and then you know, you finally realize it has to be put out there. It has people have to be warned, and people have to be warned about this fuel theft, because the fuel theft, the huachicol, it it finances the very brutal warfare, the terrorism organizations that traffic children, traffic fentanyl, other drugs, and also require the stealing and trafficking of weapons and ammunition and all of the military equipment. And that's where Fort Bliss comes in, with the fuel and the fuel additives and all of the equipment, even MREs. The uh, because when you are running a watchical, you are running an industrialized terror organization, and that finances war and terror. And so this is why this is such a security threat, why this is a national security threat for Mexico, and also for the United States and for many other countries. And this is why you saw that in our son's case, um, that we had uh, Nadal Bayim, I'll say his whole name, Nadal Tassin Bayim, involved in this with the El Paso Cartel, with the Sinaloa Cartel, with the CJNG Cartel, with the Industrialized Terror Organization. Um, it is, thank you so much, and I'll get to all the comments. But it is really all about this watchical absolutely funding all the other terror and compromising um, so many people that work in law enforcement, in the government, in the military. Um, it's just really the thunder of the sex cult. The and when I say Mormon Mafia, I mean the rogue intelligence community. Okay, they run the rogue intelligence community, and that's why what just happened today, and I posted it up. Let me look at my notes here. Um, DNI Pulte just announced that he's doing the third round of firings within the intelligence community because uh, it was totally compromised with by a group of Mormon Mafia. And that's not me saying that. That's not me making it up. That is absolutely well documented in court cases and all over the web and the net, and they are the ones responsible for the targeting, the murder, the cover up, and the trafficking, um, and targeting of our family to not investigate, to leave it alone. We are the Mormon Mafia, and we have the right to target, brutally murder, and cover up, and traffic, and cash in on your son's remains. And you're not allowed to investigate. You're not allowed to demand accountability, demand transparency, demand the return of your son's remains, you know, and we can bully you. We can use the American institutions that belong to us, right? It belongs to us, the people, the taxpayers. That's our government, and they want to say that they can use it to weaponize it against us. That they can weaponize our courts because they make billions of dollars, through the stolen fuel, mainly, not only, but mainly through Pemex, you know, destroying the country of Mexico, you know, the people of Mexico, and, compromising their government. So much so that, it's known that, people call them a narco state. Why not call them a huachicol state? Call them a huachicol narco state because it's the huachicol, the fuel theft, that's funding the narco. Okay, and also the human trafficking and the corruption inside of the um, the government that is weaponized then against the people, especially whistleblowers that don't want their country ruled by a bunch of Mormon mafia, watchical fuel thieves like Alejandra de la Vega Foster and her network. Okay, to like Maru Campos, look at what she's done. Look at that crime board. It is just, I mean, what does it take to get the Fiscalia to immediately put out another warrant because she had active warrants already for embezzlement that were blocked by Cesar Paneche, a fuel thief in alliance with Alejandro de la Vega Foster, the El Paso cartel operative. Another fuel thief to fund the bribes and everything to not move forward with the warrants for arrest for Maru Campos and Cesar Hargi. And, so the Fiscalia absolutely need to put out a warrant for her arrest. The evidence is all there. The other, many people need to have warrants out for their arrest, including Leilani Hart. And I would even say Alejandra de la Vega Foster, Cesar Paneche. I think Cesar Paneche already has a warrant out. And of course, the Ariano Corone family, they're part of this uh, terrible terroristic organization, and they fund terror with the huachicol. Okay, terror against children, terror against the people, terror everywhere you look. That connects to the Strait of Hormuz because Nadal Baim Tassin and his network in alliance with this Mormon Mafia cartel network has been going on for a long time. And they have, moved things through that Strait of Hormuz because Iran is the gateway into China, right? Into China. So, the precursors and all of the other um, things that you need. For this trafficking network to continue. So it is very, very obvious at this point, and the evidence is all there, all there, mountains of it. It's not a little, oh, irregularity. It's not a little, oh, maybe allegedly, whatever. No, the evidence is hard evidence. It's there. And of course, Richard was reporting it, and they targeted him because their fuel theft of the Mexican people was being exposed, and the theft of the American people out of the military and using our military because our military has $1 trillion budget, even more than that, right? Even more than that. And so to use the military for their criminal organization is just what's been happening, and it has to stop. And so this is why they have so much blood on their hands because it's getting more and more obvious, and they're very violent. They're very, very violent. They will do the Walmart mass shooting. They will attempt the life of President Trump, um, and kill others that don't want to go along with it, and create wars like the sabotage what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz and Iran. It's all connected to this, y'all. It's all connected. El Paso is the epicenter, it really is. That's why um, Jeffrey Epstein didn't stay in New York, did he? And he didn't even stay in Florida. He came over to El Paso, really New Mexico, of course, right above White Sands, Zorro Ranch. But that's all, really very connected to El Paso. It's the epicenter. He got as close as he could, with also access to restricted airspace for his flights and a runway and everything. So they had this pipeline, um, and Richard exposed it. And he's really a total hero. And so says, not me, so says President Trump. Okay. So says the Department of War. Okay. That Richard is a total hero. And, um, and we're very humbled by that. And we will fight for him now. We want his remains because he, as a hero, needs an honorary, all honors for his burial. And yeah, and remembrance, right? Remembrance. So we're getting very close because all this is connected to the crematoria. And, can you imagine that Maru Compost allowed her people to get fake ashes? You know, to be really inundated with false advertisement for funeral services and cremation services and given fake ashes back while they flesh peddle, and she was part of that. Well, she's responsible for that. And of course, her alliance with Conal Whetten, um, and him leaking whistleblowers' identity to the cartel, that she's the cartel proxy, right? The Sinaloa proxy. So she knew what she was doing. And it's just outrageous. It's just totally outrageous. So please share all of this information because this is what will reach the most people, and this is what will drive the narrative and will drive the accountability. And that's the truth. It's the truth that's going to drive the accountability. So, thank you so much for sharing, sharing, sharing. So, let me read some of the comments. Thank you, Gerardo. So, what happened to the soldier? Is your son lost? No, he's been found. They are withholding his remains in Mexico. And because once his remains are back to us, they're in real trouble. Okay. That's why at all costs they attempted to destroy his remains and hide his remains. But 2020 was they were really flesh peddling quite a bit back then and making a load of money on unidentified migrant humanitarian aid and, switching those bodies around from funeral home to funeral home, collecting on fees and stuff like that. And of course, they wanted to do that with Richard. And of course, they were organ harvesting, still organ harvesting. They're still up to no good. And this is all been um, all we are doing is repeating what the reports that have come out from DNI, from court cases, what has been reported. So we're not making this stuff up. We are just reporting uh, what the media fails to um, notify the public on. So, yeah, he's absolutely the whistleblower. And we know that because that was all corroborated by even the generals and the CID, that because of Richard, the IG were all over the barracks. There were audits going on, and that's why they orchestrated the Walmart mass shooting, to divert law enforcement's attention and the people's attention from the audits that were triggered by Richard's whistleblower complaints. And so, it all, the timeline now fits um, reality. And, um, and that's why we're fighting for our son's remains and for the Mexican people and for the American people, because Maru Campos is still the governor, and she's very dangerous. She's so dangerous to the people. She's so dangerous to national security. She's a treasonist. She's a treasonist, and is that a word? I don't know. I'm going to make it up. She's a treasonist. Even Shakespeare made up the best words. She's a treasonist. And she needs to be arrested as well and tried for treason. And in Mexico, I think there is a death penalty for treason. I don't think they have necessarily the death penalty, but for treason, they make an exception, right? And well, this is good, and they should take Conal Whetten too, because I think maybe he's a dual citizen. They should take him and try him for treason. Yeah, and I'm wondering if they have, if it's hanging, if it's electrocution, if is it, you know, a lineup with shots fired, right? Uh, what is their method? Because I want to be on the front line, front row seat to see it, because the bloodshed and their bloodthirstiness is has to be stopped, and we need to make sure that it gets stopped. It gets stopped, and uh, I think of Glennon Oakley Jr. I think of 500,000 children being trafficked. I think of all the missing women that were targeted because they were pregnant and their baby sold on the black market. I think of all the organ harvesting. I think of all the lives destroyed by the fentanyl. I think of all the families that were given fake ashes while having to pay for a fake funeral, right? That they didn't know was going on. Um, that's sacrilege, absolutely sacrilege. So I'm not being harsh. Okay, I'm not being harsh. I think I've been very, very patient. Our family has been very, very patient. And now the the evidence is overwhelming, and it's been documented, and it's been filed. And so it's time for the arrest to happen. And I think President Trump is gearing up for that with this convention coming up in September. Absolutely expanding Gitmo for the likes of, hopefully, for David Scott Frost, the triple agent, right? Working in the Fiscalia, working at the FBI, and being an active duty soldier in the First AD Headquarters Division under Sean Bernabe. The traitor, absolute traitors. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And yeah, so it absolutely has to stop. And my mind has been changed. I was years ago thinking, oh, well, our governments are so corrupt, maybe we shouldn't have any kind of death penalty. I just don't feel that way at all anymore. Nope. uh, we need to call for the death penalty for these treasonous individuals, because they have taken the breath away from so many innocent and made miserable lives. Yeah, so it has to be stopped. And there's only one way to stop it, and that's through the justice system, and properly um, assessing the crimes, and delivering the verdict. Yeah. So, and I, people are going to be like, oh, what do you, wow. No, this is 6 years. And believe you me, it is so bad. It is so bad. So, we absolutely have to step up to this and get these arrests done. So, thank you so much